for my next demo, I'm going to be working in the Talens Art Creation sketchbook. It's a beautiful book. It's a great size. It landscape or work that way round, and it can be portrait. I mean, there's no limitation really which way you want to use it. One of my favourite features is the elastic. So as your book grows and you add things to it, the elastic can hold the pages in place. You have the ribbon, which is your page marker, so you know where you were working last. And you get 80 pages to work on. And it's a beautiful, soft cream. Look, but it's got a lovely warm tone. Now the paper's £90, which is roughly 240 GSM. So that means now I can use lots of different media in here. And I thought it'd be nice to create a double page spread, bullet journal. And I'm going to go landscape in my book. And I'm going to bring in my Micron pens and also my Koi brush pens. Right, I've sketched out my rough design. So I've got some blocks here. I've got some bits there, and I've cut away half the page because I can, because I've so many pages in here. So that will flip over, and I've got my other side there. So I'm just going to start doodling with my Micron pens some of the detail I'd like to add in. Now your Micron pens come in lots of different sizes, and on the top there you'll get a number, and each of the numbers refer to the thickness of the nibs. So if I take a 01 for example and an 08 and I take the lids off, as you can see there, you can see the different sizes. So this will create a thicker line, this will create a thinner line. So that way you can add greater detail. So you could add sketching in with the thinner lines and cross-hatching. So there's lots of different ways to use the pens. You also get one that will say BR. She says pulling hers up there. And that's the brush. So that's a wonderful brush nib. So those of you who love your beautiful writing and your calligraphy, they are brilliant to use for that. And then you get another one which has PN on it. And that just stands for plastic nib. It's the same size as the 05, and all the pens are archival. They all work exactly the same way. They're a beautiful, dark, rich black colour, and they're fantastic for your journaling as well as for your sketching and for your drawing. So I'm going to lay down my outlines and do my doodling, and I'll be back shortly. Okay, I've doodled my quick layout, and I must admit, it doesn't look much there. I mean, I've just done some quick doodles just so I can have a rough placement of where I want to put things. And I've kept to simple designs, leaves and a few flowers. I've drawn around acrylic blocks because I can. And I've used I've used my 08, my 05, and I've used my 03 to create all my different doodles. Now, one of the things about the Micron pens, which is brilliant, is they're permanent, but they're also waterproof and quick drying. So waterproof is perfect for bringing in your Koi brush pens, because your Kois will work together, but it allows me now to colour in these pages. So I'm going to grab my Kois and we'll be back. Right, I've got my brush pens. Oh, just love my Koi colouring brush pens. They are just so packed with colour. And one of the things for me personally is when I could travel on the train, and when I used to go and I used to take my sketchbooks with me, you don't have to take water with you. They blend together as a dry blend, but then you do have the benefit that they act as watercolours as well. You can take, you know, your Sakura Koi brush pens with you and have water in the barrels, and you can blend them out that way too. Now the pens come with a beautiful flexible brush nib, and it just moves wonderfully. So I could do nice delicate, I can push down on it and come back up, and it's just beautiful. It's a great nib to actually work with, whether you're working directly or you're going to act as a watercolour. You can create some beautiful gradients with the actual colours, and the nibs will turn back to their original shape. So I could press down, I'm not going to, but I could press down really hard, but when I bring the nib back up, it's gone back to its original shape, which is a real bonus. Now the other thing for me is I can actually, you know, put one colour on top of the other, and the colour might seep into here, but once I start colouring out, it goes back to its original colour. Now the nib itself might look stained, but the colour has not been polluted at all, and that's another bonus for me as well. Right, let's start a little bit of colouring on my page, because at the moment it just looks like a lot of doodles and it doesn't seem like it's making much sense. So let's begin a little bit of colouring. Right, I'm just doing a quick pause here between the colouring, because I've just quickly coloured those and just blended the two together. But if I turn my page over, it hasn't bled through. So that gives me, you know, a sense of, you know, relief that my colours aren't going to bleed through and I can carry on. So when I'm doing a pages like this, I don't have to worry about what's on the previous page. So I'm going to get back to it. Okay, I've laid down a quick bit of colour, as you can see. And I love the fact that I can use it with a water pen if I want to. I can blend them together. I love the fact that I can flip over and I've got a double page spread. And I can add more and more detail. So I'm going to use a mixture of the Micron pens and the coloured Micron pens and build up on my pages. But the one thing I must apologise for, and I did forget to say, within the Koi colouring brush, you do get a blender pen. So if you don't feel confident about using your watercolours, you can create exactly the same effects with the blender pen. Now, as you can see, my blender pen is a little bit used. Let's grab another piece of card so you can see. And the tip is a bit dirty, but that will not, you know, prevent it from actually blending out. So if I quickly grab a colour, this isn't watercolour per se, but it won't affect me picking up the colour and actually blending it out, as you can see. So the blender pen is brilliant for journaling, colouring on the go. And I'm just going to colour it out again, and then my blender pen is ready to go straight away, so I can pick up another colour and not worry about the contamination. So if I put a little bit of blue there, I can then start blending the blue out. So the blender pens are a great way to also get a feel for your colour palette. And so this, I'm blending it out. So this shows you that the least little bit of water that you put on, the darker the colour. But if you added more water to it, it will go, you know, lighter and lighter and lighter. So it's a great way of getting a feel for your watercolours. And as I said, it's a superb one to take with you when you're travelling if you don't have access to water or you don't want to use the water brushes. So I'm going to put all these away and I'm going to carry on a little bit of doodling. As I said, I'm going to bring in my whole host of selection of Micron pens. Now, as you can see, I mean, I've added quite a lot of detail. I've used the blender just to blend out. I'm going to add something in the centre there, so I'm not worried about those harsher lines there. I have a plan for that. And as I said, I've added a little bit more detail. Now, the Micron pens do come in other colours, so if you didn't want a harsh black outline where I've done the leaves, you could pick one of the green ones and actually make everything a little bit more colour coordinated. For example, around the bullet points there, I could have done all the hearts in red, and they could all stand out in different ways. So I'm going to finish off by just putting some quotes here on either side, or just writing down what a ledger here about what each of these might mean to me. And this is my weekly journal. Oh my, I got a bit carried away with my doodling and, oh, absolutely everything. So I thought I'd better stop and give you an idea of what I've actually been doing. Right, so my page is getting bolder and brighter because I like that. And the Sakura Koi Brush Pens help me immensely there because the colours are so rich and deep. So I've created like a working week page. Now I've used stencils to add some of my detail because I thought that was a brilliant way to show that, you know, we get such a range of nib sizes that you can use the finest detailed stencils to the chunkier designs. And it shows, you know, why you need all the different Micron pens, you know, in their different sizes. So I've doodled away, I've added my key, and I've used a range of the different size nibs to write in. And the same over here. And I've just done a quote using the brush pen. Now that is one of my goals, to actually learn, you know, proper calligraphy. But at the moment, I'm making do with that as it is. But this is my page, and I've said it's for June 8th to the 14th, which is next week. And I can start gradually filling in all the different boxes to make it work for me. Now, although the art sketchbooks, we automatically think it has to be art related, and we have to be able to sketch, we have to be able to draw and things like that, but they're not. Use them how you want to use them. I've used mine to do a bullet journal. However, I could have created a scrap page. I could have created, absolutely everything. And in turning over that page, you can see, you can roughly see the page behind, but it does not affect that when I work on it. And the same here. Neither of those disrupt each other. So the pages are absolutely superb to work on. And although not 100% designed for watercolour work, I think they've proved quite successfully how they can be incorporated using lots of different media. I hope that's given you an idea of a different way to approach the sketchbooks, and also a different way to use all the items on today's show.